It is. Maybe it is. It kind of is. I think it is. It's the big 1-6. It's Get Valiant. It's Unity. What's up, dude? I stole Josh's line.
God damn it. Let's just end this episode right now and start over so I can do my line.
Done. It's over. What's up?
Yes, the big 160. We're so excited to be here on another festive Wednesday night.
Was festive. We missed you last week when we got to talk a little Shadow Man. Or was it Shadow Man we talked last week? We talked Shadow Man. Yes, we did. It was great. So
yeah.
Yeah.
Did you just not like Shadow Man? Is that what it was? Or is there something more?
Oh, no. I would have loved to have talked Shadow Man, but I don't know, my family, we were kind of doing some fun stuff. And I think being on quarantine, if you will call it that, a lot of times it's just kind of like just trying to keep things like business as usual. But we were having a lot of stuff. We were having like a good fun time. And I just thought, I'm just going to keep it going. I'm not going to make my kids go to bed early so I can do this. So I bowed out.
Yeah. He's here.
But I'm here now. I'm here now. I put to bed early tonight.
Last week he just didn't want to get Valiant.
I had to get parenting.
You were parenting, and I just did a dad joke for you, so it works. What is up, everybody in the chat? We better be on our best behavior. Greg Katzman's here. Good old Ronnie Barron, who was on the show a couple weeks ago when we did our Unity show with all the podcasts. We all gathered up and did the best that we could. Omar, everybody, thanks for joining. We love you guys chatting, so keep up that chat tonight.
Yeah, absolutely. Omar said Josh was watching Tiger King. I hope so.
Oh.
Still haven't seen it.
Dude, you watch pro wrestling, but you won't watch Tiger King?
Well, I only watch old pro wrestling, though. I don't watch any new pro wrestling.
Because they wore spandex.
No, because they have guys that just keep their hands in their pockets and are athletic.
Oh, man. We should just talk about pro wrestling the entire time.
I have been watching is we started watching Parks and Rec again. So that's been our show yet? This week. And I don't know. I think it's this week. We just finished up watching. I don't know if anybody knows the show. It's called Happy Endings. It was on ABC. My wife and I loved it, and it's on Hulu. It only went 3 seasons, but I think it's like the greatest thing. It's probably like
everybody should Google that show right now.
Yeah, all 5 of you in the chat, go watch Happy Endings. It's way funny.
Do not blame me for your search history.
Oh, Greg said the reunion episode of Parks and Rec is on Thursday.
Oh.
So.
Tomorrow.
Oh, so that's tomorrow already. Jeez.
Already.
Yeah, that's it.
What's happening?
So is this what our podcast could be? We just start talking about TV shows. How awesome would that be?
Last Kingdom,
super valiant.
pretty good.
We gotta talk
Last
about
Kingdom,
Unity.
I like it. Gets my Viking fix. It's legit.
I gotta check that out. No,
Unity.
we gotta talk about Unity.
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 That's right. Unity.
Not even planned, and we both just did that like in unison, pretty much.
Yep. Oh, Ozark. Yeah, Greg puts on Ozark. Love that one. So, Community. Oh, I love Community too. It's hilarious. I like Dave McHale. Dude's funny. His reunion show for the Tiger King wasn't all that great, but it was cool. But community.
Yeah, Community. I do like Community. Community was great. I'm not a big TV fan, oddly enough, but I feel like
I'm kind of protesting this because protesting. I voted this way this week. Sorry, guys. Sorry. I was ready. I was ready for them.
Secret.
But it happened.
I don't know. I love the Secret Weapons kids, and Secret Weapons is one of my favorite things Valiant's done. But the problem is, I just don't think that any of them would do anything useful at all in baseball. Like at least Galad, he swings an axe at people. It's like a bat, Arx got his laser sword is like a bat.
I guess it was the question at hand, right? Yeah.
They got really good hand-eye coordination. They could catch a ball. I mean, really, I just feel like Owen would he would try to pitch and it wouldn't even be like a ball.
Dude,
that
just
would come out. It
imagine
would be like a piano.
Curveballs Ninjak would do.
He would just mess up.
And that's I think that was it. It was the question that had I raised the piece saying that Secret Weapons would kind of be like Moneyball. They'd be like the A's, right? Billy Bean's team, probably the best players for the best prices, but they probably wouldn't win the big game because the A's never really did. 1989, I don't think they're really doing Moneyball when they have Mark McGwire and Jose Canseco and Ricky Henderson. Don't think that was the best players for the cheap price when you have those dudes.
They were called the Bash Brothers, Eric. That's a baseball term.
I actually voted, speaking of the poll this week, I actually voted for Chaos 6. So
Yeah, I think they would have done better than the Secret Weapons kids in this.
I agree with that. And even without the baseball piece of it, I just wanted Chaos 6 to win so that we would all have to talk about that trade. And I need to reread it because that trade was amazing.
Series that we're hoping to see them in. Hoping.
Yeah, fingers crossed. Absolutely.
That's cool.
100%. I would be very excited to see them show up in the upcoming Ninjak series. I'm excited for the upcoming Ninjak series regardless. But you know what we need an upcoming series of? Unity. We need a new Unity series. We're talking about Unity, and we don't have a Unity book. And I have pitched this. I have pitched this amazing idea where Capshaw is the only consistent member of the book, and every month or every 4 issues or so, you recast the team and keep Capshaw around to run it, and you have a new team with a new creative team every few months. You can run those numbers way up because you always have new writers coming in with fresh ideas. So you don't have to do an issue 1 through 4 over and over again. You can get up to the 20s. This is an amazing idea. I don't know why it hasn't been done yet.
Yeah, I think that's pretty awesome. And but I think we're getting subtle hints in the chat with who would we want to see on the new roster of Unity series? Oh man,
everybody, a different time. Oh. I mean, you need Bloodshot. I mean, basically the team that you've already got plus Bloodshot, right? Like Livewire, Ninjak, Galad, Exo, and Bloodshot.
Like the way I think, like just to kind of piggyback off of Eric's idea, is, and this might not make sense to anybody who hasn't read Global Frequency, but there was a book that came out in the early to mid 2000s called Global Frequency about, I think it was like 1,000 agents. They don't know each other. They're all united by one main agent, a Neville or whoever it would be, and they just have these crazy ass adventures. It was written by Warren Ellis. I think it's been pitched a couple different times as a TV show. It came really close a few times, but to me, like that's what Unity would be. It'd be like a thing where there's one person who picks the field agents, kind of like how Eric was saying, just like you have that one main person, you can have a revolving cast. And then that way you can have a mission where you're like, you know what? We need to go to somewhere a little bit darker than where we need to be normally. We need Bloodshot in there because Bloodshot's the guy who he'll get as dirty as he has to be, or Ninjak, or maybe we need something a little bit different. It's technological. We need Livewire. It's magic. We need.
I would love to see Pete get in there. I'd love to see Pete get mentored by a guy like Exo or a guy like Eternal Warrior. I mean, that's really where I would like to, and just see the older guys kind of put him under his wing. Hey, dude, Harada was he was in our group for a little while. Let's make you even better. And they take him under the wing and they teach him kind of, that redemption and kind of really run with them. Let Pete get in the middle of these guys. That would just, I don't know. I guess I see Pete as a story that needs the redemption, and what a better way to do it than have the biggest Valiant heroes really kind of take him and basically get that understanding of the manipulation he's had throughout the time. So I think that's who I would like to see the most is Pete, especially with him in Livewire's history as well. I think there's many places that you can go there. So rock and roll there. So.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. And that's another great thing about my pitch for Unity is that you would be able to take characters who maybe don't have a book out and people want to read them and put them in the Unity book, right? Like if, Shadowman is just coming back to have a new series soon, but in the meantime, we could have had him in a Unity arc. There isn't a Harbinger book on the shelf right now, but in the meantime, we could have some of those characters in a Unity arc. We don't always get, you could even do future Unity with time travel with Ivar and go get War Mother. I mean, that potential is endless.
Well, yeah, and even then, you could still have like Armstrong or Galad show up if you do it in the future. You could. I mean,
yep.
There's a lot of possibilities with that, and it can be done almost in a way like how Dark Horse Comics used to publish the BPRD ones, where everything was just a mini, and then it's like, okay, we'll be back with another mini, and it's kind of slightly numbered together, but it's not. You don't need to pick up on a previous series. Everything can kind of be its own things.
And Dr. Tomorrow's nice. In there too.
Yeah, everybody can be in there. Everybody can be a member of Unity.
Absolutely,
100%.
I completely
but before
agree.
we go forward, let's go backwards, because one of us had kind of a book that we wanted to talk about. And looking backwards a little bit, and this has a couple people that we probably would like to see in Unity if we were ever have that opportunity. Josh, take us away.
So when it comes down to like the greatest Unity stories, honestly, and I'm not trying to be a hater on anything, that for me, my heart is very much in the original Unity saga, published back in the 90s under Valiant. And full disclosure, I didn't read it as it came out. That whole series had come out long before I got introduced to Valiant. My first Valiant book was Bloodshot #1. And seeing the image that's on the screen right now of those diamond books, it's so heartbreaking because I had to sell mine last year because I was just in a pinch where I had to get some money, had to have some for food. Sold my books, my Unity books. But Unity to me is like, it's probably the greatest crossover, first off, in comics, especially in the 90s. The 90s has so much of that shit going on. And I just think that, for one, the bookends of it, Barry Windsor Smith art, Jim Shooter writing it, you kind of just have a few different minds that piece together an 18-issue storyline. It's great. All the issues are great, I think. There's a lot of weird, wonky stuff. Like, if even talking about it now, you're just like, wait, what? Like, there's so many weird things that just don't play out now because obviously we don't have Magnus and we don't have Turok, who's not really there. We don't have, you don't have Solar. And Solar's awesome. I'm a huge Solar fan, especially all the Jim Shooter issues that he wrote. So it's another big reason why I was like, Unity. Definitely Unity is like my pick with that name. I don't know how well it transfers now. Like, if you've never read it, I don't know if it's one of those like timeless classics, like a lot of things are. But to me, I mean, like I said, I didn't read it when it came out. It was a couple years later when I had gotten into Valiant, and I was trying to slowly pick up the back issues as I could. And I love it. And I loved it then, and even looking at my trades, which I just have the slipcase now, which it's still cool, but not as cool as those 2 diamond volumes or those previews. Oh, they were so great. Eric Dotson, I think, is the one who bought my copies, but whole different story. But there's a lot of cool stuff in here. Chris plays a big deal in it. She actually gives birth to Magnus.
That's right.
Ugly. There's an ugly baby of Magnus. and one of the things that's always stuck with me from Unity, out of any of the stuff in it, is the fact that I can't remember who says it, but someone's like, "Oh, he looks like Winston Churchill because he's just like he's a baby." And I have used that reference so many times in my life when discussing like ugly babies. They look like Winston Churchill. But God, I haven't really talked about like even what this is. Like if you've read Solar, you know that Solar basically like he gets these powers through like this nuclear explosion in Pittsburgh, and it just kind of like destroys the world pretty much. And in doing all that, you get Erica Pierce, Mother God, and she ends up going to the future to try to repair things her way. She builds all this shit, gets all these followers. It turns into such an awesome fight, and obviously the good guys win because that's how good storylines are. But I always remember the fact that Rai was really prominent in this. Rai was awesome. Shadow Man was way awesome in this. Everything about Unity is great. But it's one of those things where even though I sit here and talk about it, I have like a lot of passion for it. It's just hard to be like, yeah, that's what my choice was, because I don't know how new I don't know how like old school the fans are with this stuff. Like, do people who are new go back and read any of the older stuff? It seems like whenever I talk to people, that they've always been there since like the wrestling comics came out. Every Valiant fan's like they were there like when the company started. I'm not that new. I'm not that old school, but I don't know. Unity is great. Barry Windsor Smith art.
Can't go wrong there.
Awesome. That dude is draw circles around anybody.
Yeah.
Still.
He's a great artist, absolutely. But I will say, if you consider yourself not to be an old school Valiant fan, then I am just the new kid on the block, because I didn't get into Valiant until 2012.
Well, it just seems like anytime anyone like shows up like on like Valiant comic fans, I always, I mean, this isn't the truth, but it's an exaggeration, obviously. But I always feel like they're like, oh yeah, I was there when the Pasta comics came out, or like I was reading those WWF comics. Yeah, it's like fuck, man, everybody's old school, Or like whenever I go to Valiant fans, like when I first went to ValiantFans.com, it seemed like everybody got into it way before I did. And obviously there were fans back then who were way into it because those books were all worth like a shit ton of money.
Yeah, so if you have the 10.0 Choosausaurus Rex, then you really are. But
those are the only books I don't, the books that I don't even have of like old Valiant are like the Pasta comics and the wrestling comics. And I don't have all the Nintendo books. And they're not like high on my list. There's no Unity of that.
I'd take the WWF comics though,
Yeah, well, even like that stuff's all hilarious though.
Yeah,
like it's just so crazy goofy. Like how you write comics about wrestling, and they had Steve Ditko art.
Yeah, that's true.
Those books worked within his personal philosophy of good versus evil. So that's why he did them. That's why he did out of anything pro wrestling comics in the early 90s, because it worked within his viewpoints. So yeah, if you've never read it, Unity though, I think everybody should try and check it out. I think it's great, and I do know that like a lot of people still have like a lot of appreciation for older GM Shooter stuff, and the material that kind of takes place before these books happen are definitely great. So
awesome. Well, I had the option of going 2 routes, and I ended up going with the beginning with At War with Unity. This was the original. This was basically the 2013, I think, is when this came out. It is the first volume in the hardcover, and Greg Katzman, we need volume 2 for that, so we can get the other volumes in there for the deluxe editions of Unity. Hopefully, get that soon. I got this one because I loved the direction of them going after Exo. Of them, Arik had just came into the world from the Vine planet, and he was raising hell, and it caused this group to get together that Harada brought together with Eternal Warrior, with Ninjak, Livewire, Exo. Well, to get Exo down the way. And so I just liked the direction that it was. I liked the way that the original Harbingers that came in there and they got their ass kicked right away. They flew in thinking that they were going to handle it, and you needed these guys to do it. Not to mention just the great art that was on it. Doug Braithwaite getting on it. Matt Kent. Was this Kent's first book, I believe, with Valiant? Was Unity. I believe it was.
That sounds right.
I believe this was Kent's first book with Valiant, and it was just a really cool, story to bring out to introduce this story, these superhero crossovers, and obviously, for lack of better relations, the Justice League, the Avengers of Valiant, right? And so that's what it was. It was this great team up book that really, I don't know. I think a lot of us got excited when this came out because we remember, there's recalling of the unity that Josh had just talked about, and just kind of seeing this being brought back together. And I think that was some excitement about it. And it's just a big team up, and it's the way it was brought together into this point of Ninjak having to go after Arik again was really fun. And I guess, the other story that I had that I wanted to do actually wasn't even a Unity book, but it had Unity quite a bit. And it was that same kind of concept, but it was Divinity. And it had those guys going after, Arum. And it's just, I guess it's a cool story to bring these guys, to have somebody brand new come in and seeing these opposed people kind of figure out each other and the direction of basically figuring out their point of view and realizing that another point of view is not always wrong. It may just be the point of view that you're not seeing and what's being motivated behind it. And I kind of like that because I feel like that's a good true life kind of story. A good, because some people, they're right in their own eyes and they're not always bad. It's just that they may have a different point. And so I guess I appreciate those stories. But all the way around, this was a good book. I think this gave off a great start to Unity. Sadly, that I think it was the very next arc with Dr. Silk.
Dr. Silk.
That was probably the worst arc of this one. I don't know. So, but ultimately, I love this one. That's where I'm at. Matt Kidd's first arc with Valiant and Unity's very first showing in the VEI run.
Yeah, I think just a few months prior to when this came out, Kent did that Bloodshot Zero issue. So he had done a piece of Valiant work, but this was the first time he got to do an ongoing. Do you think that the second arc is worse than the War Mother arc in Unity?
Warmonger?
Warmonger, yeah, that's what I mean. Not War Mother. My bad.
You know what? I probably need to reread the Warmonger arc.
I don't mind the Dr. Silk one. I mean, it's okay. But I think that was always the problem I've had with New Unity, was that they are such a great collection of characters. And I feel like if you look at what the team is, you could find a huge number of people that would be like, that character is my favorite character. I'm a big Livewire fan. I'm a big Lod fan. I love Ninjak. I love X-Men. There's a lot of people in the fan base, I think, that would look at least one of these characters and be like, that's my favorite Valiant character. And sometimes it just felt like the threat never matched up to who you have there, because you have Galad's great strategic mind. Exo Manowar is just an absolute powerhouse. Livewire does all the electronic stuff. Ninjak is stealth, and he doesn't care. He will kill who he has to kill. And the threat never matched up. I feel like the first arc, it matches up. And especially, I like when John was talking about that team that Exo Manowar takes out really quick in the first issue. I just remember that being such a great moment in the series itself, where they show up. They're like the first Unity team, and Arik takes them out within like a couple of pages, like they were nothing. and I remember this was when not in that issue, but like later on, like a couple issues later, was when Amanda takes over the armor, which I always thought was great too.
Did definitely show her power in here, and it definitely highlighted Livewire to be one to be reckoned with. Because the other ones, I guess Ninjak didn't have a book to that point. Eternal Warrior had I believe an arc before that. Exo actually, was the one who helped started it. We have Harbinger, and she was kind of just a side piece in Harbinger. So I think it really did bring out Livewire. It was a big showing for her to be in this book, and I thought that was a smart move. I did like the Clayton Crane covers that were in these Unities that were phenomenal. They're just so well done. Man, yeah.
Dude, that 3D cover, the lenticular, is so rad. And I remember when that thing was announced, I thought there was no way I would get one, because they're like a retailer exclusive, like one per shop. And I think I had to pay a lot of money to get one. Now I don't think you would. But, we don't know those kind of things when books are announced sometimes.
Yeah.
I thought that this was a great arc. I think that this is just one of those books that it had a lot of unexpected action in it. It started out with Harada trying to take down Exo was the whole reason why Unity was put together. And like Josh was saying, the first version of the team just got destroyed like that. I think it was actually showed off panel. We didn't even see them get destroyed. It was just like, oh crap, they're gone. And then later it went back and we kind of got to see what had happened. But I thought that the way that was presented was awesome. I think that the Harada stuff in this was great when he, like somebody had mentioned in the chat, when he almost makes Galad kill himself. There's just so many great moments in this. I really like this. And I actually just recently read this first volume of Unity while I was reading through a bunch of the Venditti Exo run, because the way that To Kill a King and At War with Unity, those two arcs fit together. And yeah, I thought it was really good. Yeah, I think that the art in this was solid. I think that yeah, all around, Unity Volume 1 was a really good book. And then the one that I wanted to talk about was a little bit later.
And this kind of answers Omar Rodriguez's question in the chat. So let's move on to yours, Eric.
Yeah, Omar's asking whether it's worth getting Volume 4 and beyond. And the one that I want to talk about is Volume 4. I believe it's Volume 4, right?
Yep.
The United? Yeah. So Volume 4 of the Unity arc, or the Unity run, is when we get a new person joining the Unity team. And at first, when it was originally announced, you didn't know who was going to be joining the Unity team. But as you can see in the art, Faith is the one that ended up joining the team. And I thought that, and that's the reason why I picked this arc. I think that there's some really good stuff in this story with the United and, Unity versus the United. I thought that there was a cool concept of this team of superheroes versus a team of supervillains. Yeah, I thought it worked really well. But the reason why I picked this book was because of the dynamic between this hardened team of superheroes who know what it takes to save the world, what it takes to be a good guy on a global scale, the decisions that have to be made, the sacrifices that have to be made. Livewire, Galad, Ninjak, none of them are afraid to make those tough decisions. And then you get Faith coming in, and Faith is just such a goody-goody to the bone that, she just cannot handle what's going on with the rest of these characters. You get, them, she's off panel, or she's outside a building, and inside Ninjak is like torturing dudes, and she's like, what's going on in there? What's Ninjak doing? And later in the fight, when it's a fight to the death between the two teams, and she's like telling Galad, you can't kill them. It's like, dude, either I kill them or they kill us. And yeah, I just thought that dynamic with, Faith coming into this as, this is the greatest moment of my life. This is the best day ever. I am so happy to be on a new team and to be able to do something good for the world. And then realizing what it means to be on a world, a global scale superhero team and the decisions that have to be made. That to me was the best part about this arc, and definitely something that I would recommend reading.
The Raul Allen cover, where it shows like who will be on Unity next, I love it, because that's such a throwback to old comic book storytelling. Like, that's like had to have been based upon like an old Avengers cover, where it's like, who's going to be on the Avengers next, and you'd have like Invisible Woman and Rom Space Knight and shit like that. I just thought that was such a cool thing, and this is a great arc too. So yeah, like it does. I think it would definitely answer Omar's question, like if it's worth reading. I think the next arc's worth reading too, but yeah, then Warmonger is really where I think like the whole book just kind of goes down the drain.
I think it's a flip of a coin between the Warmonger and the Dr. Silk arc of being, kind of the lesser of the others. Not that they're bad. That they're the lesser of the others. Just saying that these ones are good. The Unity was great, and it was fun to see this piece of wondering who's going to be in the piece, who's going to be the next new Avenger. I almost screwed up big, and I did anyway. The new Unity member. And I think it's fun to think of that going forward too. It's fun of that thinking in the future. That Greg posed that question earlier in the show. And so just having, that realm of that new aspect, that new cog in the engine, and how it portrays to other, how the writer actually uses that character to change a group dynamic. And because that happens at times, that you've seen that at your work when you have a shitty person, how that makes your job just feel like crap because they're like a cancer and they bring it down. Would be fun to see that with one of these characters that is just a complete asshole and nobody wants to deal with. It would be fun to have, like, dude, I'm sorry, man, but you're not working. It's not working, and get him out of there. Torque.
Put Torque on the team.
Or Torque. You know what I mean? But yet again, another one that would be good to have some of these older guys take him under his wing and really kind of portray him on how to be an adult, how to be a man. The guy was left in a room. You know what I mean? And again, how to do this. The guy left in a room, just paralyzed. So it would be kind of a Make-A-Wish Foundation thing. And but I like the excitement of this, like you said, having faith in it. She has a great character, and she does change the dynamic of the group to be a different, character to stand out. And so it kind of changes a little bit. I mean, but they have such strong personalities. I think that's what I would like to see when another one comes out, is when that new character comes, how that really kind of changes the look of it. I think it's all for the better. And yeah, the art again on this, Segovia's art was really great in this. And then Josh, to echo what you're saying about the Raoul Allen cover, was awesome. And just the aspect of this, the United, all the way. So good call out, Eric.
Yeah, Cafu did a lot of the art on this, and it was
right.
really, really, really good.
I think Segovia just did 12, right?
Cafu did.
And then Carrie Nord was on it as well.
Carrie Nord might have been 12, or I'm not really sure what Segovia all did, but I know Cafu did 13 and 14, and those issues look amazing. Yeah, and I believe Brian Reber colored a bunch of it, but either way, the art looks solid. This trade actually includes the Zero issue and the Faith Zero issue, a little bit more than just this story of the United. So I think that there's a lot of good reasons to read this book.
Go ahead.
Oh, I was just gonna say, and the biggest thing for me was that dynamic with Faith coming in. She talks in the book about how, you would think that Galad or Ninjak would be jockeying for a leadership role on the team, but then Livewire walks into the room and that all falls away, and you can tell Livewire is the true leader. That was another really awesome moment in this book.
I always liked Ultimo. I always thought he was such a great villain, and I was glad that we got to see him in Ninja K.
Those other characters are awesome. Ultimo, Stock, I think, was the Codebreaker's great grandson.
Myth, Stock, yeah,
and then yeah. And then on the United, you've got Stock, who can manipulate electrons as well and write code for computers. Who I noticed in is a total ninja. You've got excuse me, you've got Gang, who has the power of dozens and dozens, if not hundreds, of fallen Psiots in her, versus Galad, who has dozens of lifetimes of experience. I think that having all of these different characters and having their counterpart on the other team made for a really interesting story. And definitely one of the reasons why, and something that I would point to say, why is Unity a cool team? Because why is a Unity book a good thing? Because you can do things like this. Like, on the face of it, like if you describe this book, it sounds like it's going to be an action book with big fights. And there is some action in it, but really, this is a character book. This is really about the team dynamic. It's about Faith entering that dynamic, realizing it's not what she thought it was going to be. There's so much else going on besides just a superhero team fighting a supervillain team. I think it's a lot deeper than that, and that's what makes it such a great book.
One thing that came up in the chat is I love this idea of like a Unity Junior with all like the younger kids that exist in the Valiant universe that have powers. But where the hell are the survivors of Gen Zero at? I mean, we know there's a couple of those kids that were still alive.
Aren't they all
dead?
The
Zygos twins are at least alive.
No, they should have kept Gamete alive though. She was the best
Animalia,
one.
So.
Yeah, Animalia's alive. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
We don't know what Jay's powers are. Maybe Jay from guy who was in the last Renegade, book. Let's see what he does.
Yeah. We need, but like, oh man, like that idea of a younger level Unity is pretty awesome. That would be such a great thing for Eric's idea of how to do Unity, where the team just changes, and just one day you just need like a younger Unity.
And they're all babysitting the Unity juniors.
Yeah, and Bloodhound, and add Bloodhound to that gang too.
Bloodhound's like kind of like the Red Tornado watching them all. It'd be great. Yeah, and then of course, I mean, you have Jesse sitting in the background. You have, Tom is a young one. So there's some cool ones. Get some of the younger Psyots.
Magic could be like, that would be who would be like, what, like she would not be looking after her daughter and then they'll go run off on some mission. That's what it would be
house
like.
Mom.
Yep.
There could be some great things. I think, and I love the Unity Dark aspect of having kind of like a cool, Dead Side team would just be fun to have with, Dr. Mirage, Punk Mambo, obviously Shadow Man in there. Maybe have Ninjak come in every once in a while. That would be a cool aspect to have. And definitely anything to get Jaunty back.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But like I said, that's why my idea for a Unity book is perfect. And it cannot be topped.
It just can't be.
It just can't be. It's the greatest idea that anyone has ever had.
Are you listening?
The greatest.
It can't ever be topped.
If you want the best idea that anyone has ever had in the history of people having ideas.
Well, and let's just talk, pat ourselves in the back. We know that this is where they come to hear these great ideas.
Well, and then maybe we not do Unity to kind of go with that. Maybe we just have Gate, and it is Capshaw, like you said, and it runs that route because she's on that end. So where's she at? Last we saw her, she was crying and drinking on Psylords.
Well,
that's true. That's true. We do need more Capshaw.
Yeah. So maybe her bringing back Unity is the thing that gets her off the bottle, and stop crying and drinking.
But then you have Armstrong. You have Armstrong come and be like, no. She needs another beer. Give her some more whiskey. I need a drinking partner. That'd be great. That would be good. So I want that.
You know what we need more of? You know what we really need more of?
What?
Is Ninjak versus the Valiant Universe.
You know what? Go ahead.
Oh, I was just going to say we need more Kevin Porter as Armstrong. Anytime you talk about Armstrong now, all I can think of is that scene in Ninjak versus when they're all training together. Punky.
Yes, when he's eating the burger, puts his money in the wrapper.
Yes. No, he doesn't even eat a burger. He just pulls a wrapper out of his pocket and wipes his face with it. Like that was amazing. And like when he's like, first of all, this isn't alcohol, it's beer. Secondly, he says something like, and I just keep talking until I figure out what I'm saying, and when that happens, we're all in trouble. Oh my God, Kevin Porter as Armstrong was absolutely amazing, and we need more of that.
Yeah, that was pretty good.
Yeah.
So, and then I always think back to what the back scenes were that we got that Aaron told us on the show, where there was going to be Quantum and Woody, and you were going to have Casper Van Dien playing Woody and doing kind of like post credit comedy. That would have been pretty decent. Casper Van Dien from where they kill aliens. Not Super Troopers.
It's Starship Troopers.
That would have been pretty fun.
Yeah, and then I don't remember the name of the guy that they had for Quantum, but yeah, they had Quantum and Woody lined up, and they were going to.
It was the guy that used to do the Old Spice commercials.
Yes, it was
right,
but I don't know his name.
I don't remember his name either. But they were going to have them at the end of each episode, like, all right, now they got to call us. Now they got to come and ring us up, and we're going to be part of the team. And then it would just never happen, and that would have been hilarious.
definitely it was an entertaining, and it was the first thing we got. And there was some things that were left to be desired, but I think for the most part it was fun and it did what we wanted it to.
Absolutely. Oh, the other thing Casper Van Dien was in, he's worked with Kevin Van Hook, actually.
Yeah, he's done a lot of Kevin Van Hook. And he's married to one of the hosts on Bat in the Sun. So the brunette lady who hosts Bat in the Sun is his wife. So there's a little connection there. But yeah, Casper Van Dien there. But I did like what I heard casting back in the day of Joel McHale possibly being Woody, which would be perfect. So since we're talking Woody casting. I was never into that idea until I watched Community, and then I realized, he could totally do it. It would be so good. So. Yep. And then I'm watching this.
That's Derek Henderson.
What's that?
Ernie Hudson as Derek Henderson. That would be amazing. That would be great casting.
Yep. Well, we got some Unity in, guys.
Oh, man. Yeah, we got to talk about Unity. I think it's awesome that they did a team. And now I'm really curious what they're going to do next week. But we do have things that we need to talk about, which is we need to still review Visitor number 4 and Dr. Tomorrow number 2. We haven't gotten around to those because Valiant has kept us busy. And then the biggest thing that I cannot believe that we haven't reviewed yet is that little movie that they did with some little-known actor named Vin Diesel.
But we have decided when we're going to do it.
Gasoline.
And that is going to be after the 4K comes out with all the extras. So we could also talk about the extras. So.
Yeah, that's what I think would be best. Just because that's what's been holding me back from getting the movie. I could buy the code or I could buy it digitally, but I need those extras. I gotta see some of that cool extra shit, you know.
And the Blu-ray looks like it's out today, so
I'm just waiting to see. I want to see the extended scene where they actually call the team Chainsaw. That's what I've been waiting for.
In the book, it's interesting though. It's pretty funny how you have Sam Hugan, right? Basically, because it sounds cool. I can't wait to see what that's like. So can't wait. Yep, and we got Joe Exotic as Ark. That's great. Oh. He can play Vincent.
Yes.
He looks like a goat. Then somebody could put him to death. Oh
man, now we're really getting interesting. I think Doc Antle is the Eternal Warrior.
No, the Ultimate Warrior could be the Eternal Warrior, Josh. You know that one, that reference.
That's right. That is right, God
right? And then Sting could play Sting. Come on. Is that low-hanging fruit there? Or is that great? Right? Yeah. I mean, we already got John Cena's going to be in the shit. So.
The thing is, like, Ultimate Warrior, the way he talked, that would be great if that's how, like, the Eternal Warrior talks. Just like, feel all the warriors. Just
that would be
so
that'd
awesome.
be it. That'd be it. You'd have to get some Macho Man, right?
Because when he takes that armor off, he's got like tassels wrapped around his arms.
Yep. You gotta throw the Macho Man in there too.
Not a chance.
Because the cream rises to the top, brother. You know what, Mean Gene?
Yeah, brother.
I feel like anytime anyone ever mentions Macho Man, I always just want to do the voice, and there's no way to do it without like waking up all my kids right now.
Just screaming.
Yep, but we do need to do Bloodshot. We do need to do this Dr. Tomorrow number 2, Visitor number 4. Visitor 4's got 2 more issues after that. Dr. Tomorrow, I believe that was a 4 or 5 issues. I don't remember.
I think Visitor 6 and Toronto's Dr. Tomorrow 5. Is that right?
Perfect.
I think so.
I'm excited to get those back. I do need to reread them. That's why we didn't do them today. So hopefully you guys hit those bells and whistles and subscribe. So when we do another show, you are ready for it.
I feel like at the rate we're going, with Valiant being so good to keep content out there for us to talk to, we probably won't even get to the books until they start putting books back out again.
I'm cool with talking about it. I mean, we have fun. You know what I mean? Yeah. And so everybody that's in the chat with us too, appreciate that because it's talking about things that we enjoy and like to get us kind of outside of the things going on in the world.
Yeah, Jake Kingman has been hanging out with us. Scott Bloom, Ronnie Barron, Omar Rodriguez, Connection to the World. Always love when Sean Hayes is hanging out. Man, I feel like I'm missing people, and I don't mean to, and I apologize. Greg Katzman was hanging out at least earlier and chatting with us, which is always a treat. And definitely appreciate anybody, whether you're in the chat or not. We love when people are in the chat and interact, but whether you're in the chat or not, we always appreciate people watching, listening. I want to give a shout out to my buddy Bowser, who listens to this show. I want to say hey to him, and hopefully he'll hear this and let me know. Yeah, I definitely appreciate everybody watching, listening, and interacting with us. You can find us on Twitter at @TheGetValiant. You can find us on Facebook. Our group is Get Valiant. You can email us, getvaliant@gmail.com. And obviously, we're here on YouTube at Hoodoo TV.
Hey, you know what? Someone should send us an email, because I don't think anyone who's listened to us has sent us one for like 2 years.
It's going to go inactive.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Someone send us an email, damn it.
It used to be that's how I used to speak to why am I blanking on his name? He's so awesome. But one of the dudes from DCF.
That guy.
Can't remember. He was who? Oh man.
The Great Magnet.
I think
Travis. Yeah.
Travis Williams. I used to talk to him all the time through our email. Yeah. He's been on a time or two, but my mind blanked.
Super cool dude. Yeah, all you guys rock. And I it's good that we have this. I appreciate that we get to talk about this. And I like that we get to talk about a lot of this stuff that we haven't talked about before too. So it is fun to see the back stuff that happens. Right now is a good time to get to know the Valiant characters if you're new to Valiant. We have Omar, who's read a couple books recently and he's looking further into it. So it's a great time to catch up and touch base with all of it. And if you need reading recommendations, Omar, jump us at Twitter, jump us at Facebook, like we said, or I believe it's just getvaliant@gmail.com. And just touch base with us. And the more that you could get in some time into read, it's kind of a good chance to get that back up. And hopefully our buddy Greg will keep on coming with these cool votes, and we can get some more characters and more stuff to come. What would you guys like to see vote? We had the greatest World Series team. I think we had who would win in a ping pong tournament or a paintball. What do you guys think's next?
Chess match.
Who's better at Donkey Kong? That's what I want to know. Who can be?
Dude, Woody.
And Livewire doesn't get to be a part of that choice. Her use of
I might give it to Faith.
It's like actual
Donkey
skill
Kong would
with the
probably
controller.
be Faith.
Who would be the? Well, I'm just gonna say who would be the king or queen of Kong. That's what I want to know.
Yeah. We got Connection in the World. He wants the sexiest. I don't know. There's some chats at Valiant Comics fans of that Bloodshot picture that came out with him doing a great pose that Moose likes to.
I think that was Adelso Corona.
Was that? I think it was his inks, or I don't know if it was Booth with Corona's inks. But
I thought that
I
was
would have to say Bloodshot's already
piece.
won, so he can't win sexiest again. But that was the best one. So definitely one of the chats you got to go check out.
It was Buckshot, man. As Buckshot would say.
Man, Sir Mix-a-Lot loved that picture because he can't deny.
Yeah. Oh man. All right. Well, thanks again, everybody, for watching and listening, even though this devolves into nonsense. We definitely appreciate everybody. This has been Get Valiant number 160. We will be back next week, if not sooner, with some more books and some more Hero of the Week. So thanks again, everybody. Signing off, I'm Eric Baumgard.
And I'm Josh Rathman.